Welcome to Beaded Doilies by Shell. Today I'm going to be continuing the strand that I've been working on in the previous videos, but this video is mostly for giving you some tips for when you're creating your own curtain. When choosing patterns, if you are going to go from section directly into the next section, you want to consider the shared bead, which is the bottom of the previous circle and the top of the next circle. If they are different colors like these two here, you'll want to give the design color priority. So for this one, if this one was to go first, you would want to remember to make this shared bead here a design color. You could even color it in just to give yourself, so you remember to make sure that you do a design color here. For the ones that I've chosen, as you can see, the bottom bead and the top bead are the same. So my shared bead are the same color, so I don't need to worry about remembering to give priority over one or the other. Now another idea is if you wanted to go from section to section, but you wanted to do a different color for each section, what you would want to do is then decide whether you're going to give priority to the first section over the second or the other way around. If you're going to give priority to the second section, then you're going to want to make sure that this bead here, you use the colors for this section, because that's the shared bead. But if you give priority to this one, then you would just bead this regularly, and this shared bead would be the color of this section. Alright, now we're going to continue beading. Now for this particular design, the two sides are identical, so I don't need to worry about whether I have it the correct direction. I can just continue beading. If you want your beading to be easy, you know, where you don't have to worry about whether you flipped it the wrong direction, then look for patterns where both sides are the same. They mirror each other. And then you can just bead down and you don't have to worry about whether you accidentally flipped it as you were going. But in the next section I'll be adding, it will be different. It's not the same on both sides. So that one I will need to make sure I know where I am on the pattern so that I do it correctly. So let's continue here. When doing the strands, even when you're starting at the top, you'll always do this circle first, because you're coming down towards the center of your section each time. So you want to keep that in mind. And this one we are using the 2 needle, so this is our shared bead. It's already on, so we're going to add 1, 2, 1, 2 to each string and then cross. So we are currently working with cement and turquoise. And I am currently using the cement for the design color, so I will need 2 of those. And turquoise for the background. And then cross. And then just repeat that. on the last circle, so we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 and cross. And on this one, like I said, both sides are exactly the same, so I don't need to worry about which direction my piece is laying. I just can add on the beads. Then we're going to add 1, 2, 3 and cross. And these will be added to the string coming out towards the end of your row. Oh, I actually added them to the wrong string. Okay, if you find you've done that, you just take your 2 strings, make sure your piece is, the finished is to the right, the one you're working on is to the left. Bring your string up, and then re-add your beads. Oops, grabbed the wrong ones, I need mint. And now this time we're just going to add to our left string. I'm going to add all 3 beads. And then we're going to go through the bead our other string is coming out of. And then we're going to go around this circle so that both our strings are coming out of this one on this side. So this one will only need to go through 2. And this one will go through 4. There we have both coming out here. Now as we're going down, we want to go through this one bead here. So we got our 2 side beads. Now we take the one coming out towards the end of the section we're working on, and we're going to add 1, 2, 3, and then cross. Okay, now the string we normally add to, we're going to put all 3 beads on here. And then we're going to go through the bead that our string is coming out of. And now we're going to work so both are coming out of the bottom. This one will go around through 4. Now I am not going to be needing any new string. As you can see, I have plenty left here for the next section, but if you were to need to tie off on the end, all you'd have to do is take your new string and slide it through here and then bring your 2 ends together and you would be all set. Or if you're over here on the side, all you'd have to do is go through the 2 side beads and the last one on your previous circle and then bring your 2 ends together, and you'd be all set to continue beading right on. So it's pretty simple for adding string wherever it is that you needed to tie off. Now we are going to need this section like here, because I'm separating my colors with a section of light blue that's the same color as the top. So we'll put 2 of those on each string. And the next section I'm going to be doing will be mint and mauve. And we are starting, let's see, with mint, which is the mauve, which is the background color. And that puts on our first bead for us, right there. Now, as you can see, this design is different on both sides, so as we bead this, we'll need to be careful which side we're on. But as the previous ones were all the same on both sides, at this point we don't need to worry about whether we're flipping these the wrong way. It's only this new section that we're going to have to be careful as to where we are in the pattern. So we're going to add 1, 2 to each and cross. Like I said, if you just want to have a nice easy time with your strands, just pick patterns that have both sides the same. You won't have to worry about which way you flip your strand. But if you're good at keeping track of that stuff, then feel free to use all different kinds of patterns. Also, for the connecting, you could use just one of each, or you could even use like 3, 4, or 5 to give a little more space between your sections. Be as creative as you want to be. I do plan to do some videos showing you some ideas I've thought of in between videos that I think would be really cool for adding some character to your curtain. Alright, now we're at the last one. Now this is where we will need to make sure that we are doing it correctly. So as my strings are still in the same position, I'll be adding these to the the left bead as usual. And then we will cross. And we see here these 3, we want to be on the opposite side, and there's the 3, we're on the opposite side, so we know we're in the right place. So we go through the next bead on the side. And then 1, 2, 3, and we will cross, and we're going to be adding to the string coming out towards the bottom of our finished row. We'll add all of these to the left string. Then we will go through the bead that our other string is coming out of. And we want to come over to this side. going to add 3 across. We'll be adding to the string that's coming out towards the top or end of our row. And we're over here now because we're on the side with the 3 beads, which is right here, so we're over here. We'll add 1, 2, 3, and cross. And we'll add all 3 of these beads to the left string. Now, as you can see, we have a design that is different on both sides, and you can see the 3. So we have to, when we begin our next section, we want to make sure that these 3 are on the left side, and we'll need to make sure of that each time we add a new section from now on for this strand, so that all of our sections will match up throughout our entire curtain. So to go over some stuff we talked about, you want to check your shared bead. If they're the same color, then you're okay. If they're different, one's background, one's design, recommend that you give the design color priority. So if you need to color in the bottom of this one because this is a design, do so that you remember. Otherwise, if this is the design color, then you're all set. Also, if you choose to do section to section but use completely different colors, you just need to decide whether you want the top one to be the overlapping or the bottom one. If you choose the bottom one, then you'll want to color in this one to remind you to use the colors for the next section. Those are some ideas, and when you go to use your connectors, feel free to use 1, 2, as many as you want to make space if you want to give some character to your piece. And in the next video I will have completed this, and I'm going to show you then how to connect a section like this to your curtain. So if you want to do this while you're out somewhere so you don't have the entire curtain with you, you can then take it home and connect it to your curtain and work on it that way. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video.